All right, hi, welcome back. Attorney Steve Vonder, and welcome to another exciting episode of Litigation Whiteboard. Today, as you can see, we are talking about motions to seal documents. And now we're talking about federal court here. Sealing documents, the same thing can be done in state court, but we're talking about federal here. That's what we do, a lot of federal copyright infringement law, intellectual property. So without further ado, let's head to the Attorney Steve Litigation Whiteboard. All right, here we are. So to help me out today, I brought my good friend, the finger. Okay, so what happens sometimes is you get into court. In federal court, I'm going to post another document about the docket, how to look at a federal court docket, but sometimes in PACER, and sometimes you'll go through PACER and you'll see some documents you can't click on them, you can't see them. It's probably because somebody sealed the documents. Now, you may be a litigant in a case where something private is posted, your social security number, a password, how much money you make, something like that, something really private. And you, in those cases, may want to file a motion to seal the documents. So how do you do that? Let's talk about it. I am going to give you a perspective here from the Northern District Court in California. This is the Northern District Court, so I want you to take a look at that. Now, every court's going to have its own rules. You want to check your, I have here, always check your local rules, always check any standing orders from the judge. I'm going to do a video on what a standing order is in case you don't know what one of those looks like. That's basically the rules when you get starting a case. So check your local rules, check your standing orders, and you can see here, LR, I am quoting the local rules. Here I'm quoting FRCP, which is Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, the ones you learn in law school, okay? So basically this is an administrative motion. It's important to note that. It's not a duly a filed motion where you give 35 days for the other party to respond and an opposition and a reply and all that. It's an administrative motion. Again, check your own courts, may be different, but they're considered administrative motions. In California, we are looking Northern District, Local Rule 79.5. 79.5, you can look that up on Google. Strict compliance, it says here, okay? You want to make sure you're following all this stuff I'm going to tell you here. And if you do that, you got a better chance at success. If you don't do that, you might have a problem. All right, so let's talk here first. I want to talk about a couple things here. One, disfavored, okay? These are really disfavored. Why? Because we want the courts are open to the public. They're paid for by the taxpayers. There is a presumption that documents should be open, that the courtrooms should have access. Sometimes you have issues, can we get a camera in the courtroom? Lots of different things, okay? But there's a preference that these documents that get filed in a case need to be public. The public has a right to know what's going on. There may be newsworthy things in there. And in general, the public gets to learn about the legal system, what happened between these two parties, why were they fighting, how did that get resolved. So there is a general disfavor of these motions, okay, but it's not to say that they don't get granted when things are done right. So again, public interest, I just covered that. There's a huge public interest. So when you're writing these motions, okay, you want to be thinking a balancing test. That's not a very good fulcrum, but you want your privacy interests versus the public interest, okay? The privacy interest should outweigh the public interest, and you should put that in your documents and make it clear to the court why you feel that is the case, okay? And conclusory arguments, as we say, conclusory, on balance, this outweighs the public interest. That's just conclusory. Weave in some facts of the case, of your particular circumstance, okay? So remember, the judge is going to be looking for this balancing test and you meeting your burden of proof as the party filing this document so that the judge will grant this order that you're preparing, okay? What kind of things does it work for? Maybe you have trade secrets. Maybe you're IBM and you have a patented trade secret. Well, it wouldn't be patent, but say you. Let me give you a better example. Your KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, they have the secret recipe. The secret recipe. That's a trade secret. Somehow that comes out in a court document. Of course, you're going to want to seal that. The one party accidentally files that. You're going to want to seal that so your trade secrets don't get out there. Your trade secrets are anything that have value, competitive value, that you take reasonable efforts to keep secret, okay? So that's a whole nother thing. I might do a video on that, but confidential proprietary information, things that may have been covered by a protective order between the parties because it was important. Could be somebody's sales charts, financial plans, documents, tax returns, anything like that. But realize just because it's confidential or just because it's covered by a protective order, that's not automatic. It doesn't mean, okay, that'll do it. Seal the rec. Seal document number 40. It doesn't mean that you're going to get it. So you got to really get into the facts and the arguments. You got to really persuade. And you got to give the judge something to hang his or her hat on, because they have to make a ruling, okay? They have to make a ruling on this, all right? All right, so, excuse me. Let's get into the general process here. You file your motion under Local Rule 7-11, 5-page maximum. So don't be thinking you're going to write 20 pages, cite every case known to man. You need to be short, need to be sweet. It needs to also be filed along with a declaration. And under Local Rule 7-12, you need to try to get a stipulation from the other parties or parties. Let them know, hey, this came up. You're going to have any objection? I'd like to get a stipulation so I can tell the judge that you agree with me. If you get a stipulation, you're going to put a declaration. I got a stipulation. You're going to put in your declaration these items that you have personal knowledge of. And as I put forth here, put down your compelling reasons. Okay, there's two different standards, good cause and compelling reasons. I like to be able to go right to the compelling reasons. Judge, I got compelling reasons. Docket number 45. I was filed erroneously. It contained secret passwords of my client, or a secret sauce, secret recipe, accidentally filed, incorrectly filed, those kinds of things. And be thinking also about this, FRCP 5.2. This is a federal rule of civil procedure that says there are certain items that are so sensitive that it's kind of a no-brainer. If you find your item on that list, you have some here, social security number, date of birth, last 4 of your financial accounts, things like that. Cite FRCP 5.2, cite that, passwords, those kinds of things. And you're going to have a much better chance to get your motion filed if you got that going, okay? So you do this, and you're going to prepare a proposed order. That's nothing too fancy. Just, hey, the judge has reviewed the case on this, Bob found that certain things, there's compelling reasons, blah, 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 privacy interests outweigh the public interest, being the motions hereby granted or granted in part, denied in part, so forth and so on, okay? Other than that, make sure you have a chamber copy, that you're giving other people copies if your judge wants a copy. Some judges don't want a chamber copy. Any parties that oppose have 4 days to oppose, and after that, it's deemed submitted, okay? If it gets granted, poof, poof. They strike it out of the record and you have a sealed document, okay? And there's also procedures for unsealing, but this is the important one. Motion to seal documents by Attorney Steve. You need help, you know where to find us on the web. Civil litigation, intellectual property law, attorneysteve.com. Now, I got to get running. I got my football today, and I got my baseball game coming on tonight. So y'all have a great Saturday. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, feel free to share it. Bye now.